Hello, and welcome back to Robot Master Database, a series where I report anything and everything I can about the Robot Masters from the Mega Man series. I know it's taken me quite a long time to finally get around to making another episode, but I promise I have a very good reason for the wait. As decided by community poll, today's episode is centered around Splashwoman, the one and only female Robot Master across Mega Man's nearly 40-year history. If you don't count Roll. Which I don't. Roll isn't a Robot Master. You can fight me on this one. Splashwoman appears in Mega Man 9. She and the 7 other robots of that game were all made by Dr. Light. The story reveals that these 8 robots' government-mandated expiration dates had all passed, meaning they were all scheduled to be destroyed. Dr. Wily offers to repair them so they can still prove their worth to society, but then reprograms them instead in another bid for world domination. Splashwoman was originally built with the purpose of rescuing swimmers and ships lost at sea. She also possesses a beautiful singing voice which attracts fish and, apparently, people in show business, who she repeatedly turns down out of pride. An early sample page for the Robot Master Field Guide lists her good point as being an expert swimmer, and her bad point as having poor land mobility. She likes karaoke, and she dislikes large audiences. Her serial code is DLN067. Splashwoman's design is based on the mermaid, the mythical half-woman, half-fish hybrid. Also, her singing ability may be a reference to sirens, mythological creatures frequently depicted as mermaids, whose beautiful voices lure sailors into dangerous waters. She was designed by the at-the-time series producer, Keiji Inafune. She wields a trident, her shoulder guards are based on seashells, and in an interview, Inafune said her helmet is supposed to look like a bob haircut. Splashwoman's level is, fittingly, some kind of aquatic facility. I always took this level as being somewhere on the seaside, or maybe out in the ocean, since there's absolutely nothing visible on the horizon. I always love these streams of light right at the beginning of the level that reach down from the surface of the water. It's very pretty, and I honestly think Splashwoman's level is one of the nicest looking in the series. The level has a section containing these floating water platforms that come out in a fixed order, which require the player to memorize the pattern. There's also this rising bubble section, which is just ripped straight from Waveman's level in Mega Man 5. The level contains Octones, Okosudabones, Tropish, and Socrates, all of which only appear in this level and Wily Stage 2, probably because they're the only 2 levels in the game with water. Splashwoman herself follows a very predictable pattern. First, she sings while swimming to the top of the room, while at the same time, fish swim horizontally across the screen. Next, she fires 6 tridents straight down, all while trying to stay directly above the player. Then, she moves all the way back down with the 7th trident and repeats the cycle. While her tridents do the most damage to Mega Man out of any boss in Mega Man 9, she's also the only Robot Master in this game to take 2 damage from the Mega Buster instead of just 1. That, combined with her simple attack pattern, makes her a pretty good first pick for any playthrough. Splashwoman is weak to the Hornet Chaser, and her weapon, the Laser Trident, is strong against Concrete Man. Laser Trident is described as a laser that's strong enough to penetrate the hulls of ships, and functions as, honestly, just a better version of the Mega Buster. It moves in a straight line just like the Buster, it's slightly faster, slightly stronger, and it also pierces through shields, making it useful against Sniper Joes, shield attackers, and Kakinba tanks. It's the only weapon that can break these big destructible blocks, and it even destroys Concrete Man's projectiles, rendering one of his most dangerous attacks ineffective. In Mega Man 9, once you defeat all 8 Robot Masters, the final Robot Master drops a memory circuit board which shows how Wily was able to reprogram them. Splashwoman is present for this scene, but if she was the one who dropped the circuit board, then the scene is from her point of view, and she won't be visible. Also, a funny detail is that at the beginning of this cutscene, Roll says, "We can play back his memory to see why he went crazy," and she says this even if Splashwoman was fought last. I wonder if this was left in to properly emulate janky NES translations, or if this really was an oversight. Either way, I think it's really funny. After Wily is defeated, the credits show all of the robots being friendly again, possibly implying that they were rebuilt and allowed to continue living. Here, Splashwoman is seen on the beach, having her picture taken by Otto. As mentioned before, Splashwoman is the first, and as of now, still the only female Robot Master in the series. But you may be surprised to learn she actually wasn't the developer's first choice. According to an interview with the developers, which was included in the booklet for the Rockman 9 Arranged soundtrack, when it was decided that Mega Man 9 would include a female boss, the developers first considered a Queen Bee character named Honeywoman. But as development continued, Honeywoman was dropped in favor of having a mermaid-themed boss for the water level. This is when Splashwoman was designed, but as a consequence, the male design, which they already had, named Ocean Man, was also scrapped. It's a shame because I also really like Ocean Man's design. To this day, we still don't really have a fish-themed Robot Master. Although I guess Indie Crates did eventually give us a mermaid-type character with Milas from Azure Striker Gunvolt 2. I like the fins all over Ocean Man's armor, and his boots that double as flippers. Other drafts also include a clamshell-shaped upper body armor, and a helmet with a surfboard theme. It also seems like his version of the Laser Trident would have colored Mega Man green instead of the blue and yellow seen in the final game. I also love this comparison image made during development, simply because it says Booble Man. While I'm at it, I guess I should also mention Splashwoman's earlier drafts as well, which include multiple different helmet designs, a pink, heart-themed trident, and this really cool concept where her tail doubles as a harp. The booklet for the Rockman 9 Arranged soundtrack also included a 16-page Rockman Megamix one-shot manga titled For Whom, which adapts the prologue of Mega Man 9. In this manga, the 9th numbers are seen clawing their way out of a junkyard, and later are shown terrorizing the city. The first numbers show up to stop their rampage, but quickly find themselves outnumbered and outmatched. While Splashwoman isn't shown fighting at all, she does deliver the 9th numbers' motivations to the fallen first numbers after they're defeated. And Cutman notes that, despite their violent actions, they all have very sad eyes. The next page shows Mega Man getting ready to stop them, which is where the comic ends. Although since then, the author, Hitoshi Ariga, has drawn these robots multiple times, especially Splashwoman. I absolutely love the way Ariga draws Splashwoman. I think it's the eyes. She always looks a little bit tired or a little bit sad. It romanticizes her melancholic solitude. While I'm on the topic of manga, I might as well cover Splashwoman's other comic appearances. In the Archie comics, Splashwoman is introduced in issue 19, which is set between the events of Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3. When a cruise liner accidentally runs aground, Roll tries to contact Dr. Light and Mega Man, but can't get a hold of them. She does, however, get a hold of Oil Man, who then decides to deploy Splashwoman to assist with cleanup and rescue. For the rest of the issue, she's seen saving people in the water and pulling lifeboats to shore, and at one point she uses a laser trident to seal a leak in the boat. I think introducing Splashwoman so early in the story was probably a good call. One of my biggest issues with Mega Man 9 is that even though we've never seen these robots before this game, they've apparently been around long enough for their expiration dates to have passed already. There's the makings of a tragic and dramatic story, but the drama is kind of lost since we don't really know these characters. So I think it's good to let the readers get attached to these characters way in advance so that it really hits when it's time to adapt Mega Man 9, even if the Archie comics didn't actually make it that far. In fact, Splashwoman was the second character this was done with, as Concrete Man was introduced just 2 issues prior. Splashwoman appears again in the very next issue, issue number 20. In this story, Mega Man keeps jumping forward in time uncontrollably, getting glimpses of story arcs that the comic had yet to cover at the time. One of these glimpses was his fight with Splashwoman in Mega Man 9, though the context is completely lost on him. She has a minor cameo in issue 21, where her exclusion from the New Year's festivities seemed to be getting to her, and another minor cameo in issue 27, where when Ra Moon activates his global blackout, she and a bunch of other Robot Masters are seen losing consciousness. Thankfully, she's seen in issue 33, fully operational after Ra Moon was defeated. Her last major appearance is in issue 53, where she can be seen in the sewers with Oil Man, Pump Man, and Bubble Man, investigating the source of some water pollution, though she does also appear one final time in the final issue, number 55, on a page prophesying the events of Mega Man 9. And of course, I would be remiss not to mention that, like every other Robot Master, she appears in Sonic the Hedgehog issue 250, where she, Pump Man, and Aquaman all gang up on Amy Rose. Outside of Archie, Splashwoman also appears in Kawada and Yukito's Mr. Mega Man. She's the focal point of Chapter 31, where it's revealed that she's been making it big as a pop idol. She's able to sing with absolute perfect pitch, which brings in many fans, but also detractors since her voice is purely synthetic. Humorously, she invites everyone, even Dr. Light, to collab with her. Also, many chapters of Mr. Mega Man end with a Robot Master depicted as if they were human, with Chapter 31, of course, focusing on Splashwoman, drawn as a pop star. She's briefly mentioned again in Chapter 32 while Rock is talking to Jewel Man, and is also shown in Chapter 34, where it's said that she saved Bubble Man and Dive Man from a robot attack. But beyond that, Splashwoman also plays a pretty vital role in the final story arc. In chapters 35, 6, and 7, she fights as part of an organized effort against a robot insurrectionist group. She gets injured while clearing a path for Mega Man, but is later seen still fighting despite her injuries. She's next seen in Chapter 38, when the main villain delivers their speech to the entire world. In Chapter 40, she visits Bubble Man as he's recovering from the previously mentioned attack, and she encourages him by saying that, as a robot, Bubble Man only exists because somebody wanted him to. And her final appearance is in Chapter 43, where she uses her status as a celebrity to speak out in support of Mega Man. To my knowledge, her only other book appearances are on the variant covers for Mega Man Master Mix issue number 1, and the Mega Man Timelines issue for the Classic series, which are both focused on the series' female cast members. She's also right on the back of the Robot Master Field Guide, and she's seen alongside the other 9th numbers in this illustration, reportedly included in Capcom Visual Works 2004 to 2014. I can't find any online scans that verify this, and I'm not just gonna buy every Japanese book that I can't find scans of, so we're just gonna trust the Mega Man Wiki on this one. As far as merch is concerned, the Capcom Heroes 2012 calendar includes a Mega Man spread drawn by Yusuke Murata, manga author and original designer of Dustman and Crystalman. This piece contains every single Robot Master, Splashwoman included. And also, since I only just learned about this, that means I failed to include this Centaur Man in the previous episode. Oops. Honestly, I think I might exclude the majority of merchandise from Robot Master database episodes, simply because Capcom pumps out so much Mega Man merch that it's hard to keep track of it all. The Mega Man knowledge base lists a lot of it, but they're spread across tons of smaller individual pages. It makes it extremely difficult to research these things thoroughly, and the lists themselves are even inconclusive at times. That's not a jab at the Mega Man Wiki, I'm just trying to illustrate how much stuff there is to go through. The Mega Man series is still a popular and profitable series for Capcom, despite the infrequency of game releases in recent years. Like, did you know the knowledge base has a page just for cards and bookmarks? Here's a 2015 postcard with Splashwoman. And here's 2 with Centaur Man. I think the general rule I'll set going forward is if it reuses existing art, like this Rockman 9 t-shirt that just reuses the game sprites, then I won't bother to include it. But if it has original art like this The Yeti t-shirt from July 2024, with art done by Mikoto Azure, then I'll include it. Moving on to music, there's of course Splashwoman's 8-bit level theme, as it appears in Mega Man 9, which according to the official soundtrack is called Splash Blue. There's also the arrangement found in the previously mentioned Rockman 9 Arrange soundtrack, which goes for a slower and more serene kind of tone. And finally, the 25th anniversary Rockman Rock Arrange version, released in 2012, has a remix of Splash Blue for its 9th track. All that's left is to close out with some trivia, such as Splashwoman being only one of 3 Robot Masters who summon enemies during their boss fight, the other 2 being Hornet Man and Hyperstorm H. For the Xbox 360 release of Mega Man 9, Splashwoman was the icon for the Womp Wily achievement, granted for beating the game once. On the box art for Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, the section dedicated to Mega Man 9 has Splashwoman drawn front and center, ahead of all the other bosses. I feel like it's worth pointing out that Splashwoman bears some resemblance to an already existent Mega Man character, Fairy Leviathan from the Mega Man Zero series. They're both blue female robots who fight in the water with a polearm type weapon. And while this could just be a coincidence, it is worth noting that Mega Man 9 was developed by Inti Creates, who also developed the Zero series. Either way, this piece, drawn by Andrew Dickman, which was included in Mega Man Tribute and was recently used as a variant cover for Mega Man Timelines, seems to poke fun at the similarities. Also, as far as I can tell, Centaur Man isn't in this one. And, fun fact, the main artist for the Zero series, Toru Nakayama, did draw Splashwoman at one point. And finally, on April Fool's Day 2018, Capcom announced a fake visual novel / dating sim called Mega Man Date My Robot Master, which included Woodman, Gemini Man, and Splashwoman as characters. This, of course, was just a joke, and the game doesn't actually exist, as much as you want it to. And that's just about everything there is to say about Splashwoman. As expected, there wasn't as much to talk about since she's such a comparatively new character. But even despite her more recent status, she's become a very popular character. Being the only female character out of over 100 certainly leaves an impression. But just 2 years after Mega Man 9's original release, we were back to an all-male cast. And 8 years after that, I was disappointed to learn that Mega Man 11 would also include only male bosses. If and when we finally get a new Mega Man game, I would really like to see a new female character added to the roster. Hell, maybe even more than one if we're lucky. While the Mega Man series is primarily targeted towards young boys, I also think it's a series with very broad appeal, and it could stand to better represent different demographics, such as 49.7% of the human population. But as always, if I missed anything in this video, or if you just want to place your vote for the next RoboMaster for me to cover, comment down below. I do read all of the comments, and I keep a tally for which RoboMasters have been requested, so feel free to cast your vote. So far, I'm 2 for 2 on mythological robots with water-themed stages. And are women. Do I hear 3 in a row? No. These are the only 2. This has been RobotMaster Database. Stay equipped, and thanks for watching.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Michael with a B, and I've been afraid of insects my entire life.
Stop. Where? Where's the bee?
There's a bee?